in this section, we're going to have a look at the federal laws in relation to consumer and competition law. The ACCC are the body that look after that, and in particular, they look at false and misleading practices and also unconscionable conduct, and it's an area that real estate agents need to understand very fully before they get in the field, and I know that's an area you cover in your study, Ray.
Certainly.
What would you define as unconscionable conduct, and how can that slip into the real estate transaction? Perhaps seemingly, you know, just a little bit here and a little bit there.
Very innocently too. Yeah, as salespeople, we're very eager to help people, but we're also there chasing the sale, chasing the listing. So in our enthusiasm to get business, sometimes we can maybe not be as accurate as we would like with the truth. And I'm not suggesting we are lying, but you know, we pass things by because we think they're not important. In regards to unconscionable conduct, always remember the term a weaker party. So, for example, you could be dealing with somebody who their level of English is not as good as yours, or their understanding of the sale process is not as good as yours.
Of course.
So therefore, you know, using that knowledge to entice them to buy or enter into an agreement could be seen as unconscionable conduct. So what we always recommend is, you know, you need to step back a little bit and say, right, does this person really understand what they're doing? So for example, use open questions. A lot of people will answer yes if you say, look, do you understand what you're doing? And they will automatically say yes, even though they don't really understand. However, an open question could be, look, Emma, can you just explain to me what you're doing now? And they will certainly say, look, I'm buying a house or I'm doing this. And so you're confident that the person understands what they're doing, instead of just simply saying, okay, Emma, you know, do you understand? Yes, I do. Well, that's all fine. But you may not understand. So unconscionable conduct, think of the term weaker party. It could be a lack of English understanding the process. It could be a first home buyer. Or it could be somebody, for example, they're blind. So how are they going to be able to comprehend a contract? So something you could do is maybe organise somebody who could read it for them. I would not suggest that you read it for them, but a friend, a relative to help them through that process. Or alternatively, go to something like the Royal Society of the Blind, and they might have a service where they can help maybe convert it to Braille or something like that. So they're the sort of things that salespeople and also property managers really need to be mindful of, just to make sure that the consumer is aware exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the more obvious ones of perhaps, you know, the weaker party not being of sound mind, they stand out straight away. But like you say, sometimes people feel vulnerable, and because they are the weaker party, and they'll work around that. So yeah,
and it could be a simple thing like you visit a client's home to show them an offer, and look, they've been celebrating something, a family event. They've had too many drinks, and you know, you can sense that, well, you know, maybe it's not the right time to go through a complex contract. That's what you do. Now, false and misleading advertising is a big one that the ACCC has actually focused on in real estate a fair bit, and I suppose it's an area that can be quite easy to breach. And thinking about taking some pictures of a property, having them touched up, you know, where's that line? And I suppose you've been a real estate salesperson for many years, Ray. No doubt sometimes those trees are just not in the right place, but you really can't remove them, can you? Well, that's right. I mean, you know, the photoshopping things out or in, we actually don't view lightly. You know, a good example is the Stobie pole, which might be the telegraph pole near the driveway or something like that. Removing those things, and then somebody buys the property off the internet because not necessarily viewing the property. And there again, if somebody was going to buy off the internet, sight unseen, what you would do as risk management is send them more photos. If there's nobody in the state that can come and view the property for them, certainly take additional photos and send those off. And they got to show warts and all, because if they were coming to view the property, they would see warts and all. And I suppose also if an investor comes in, has a look at the unit you've got for sale, says, Ray, how much am I going to get a week for that?
what should you be saying?
Sure. Look, what we always recommend is you get an experienced, a professional property manager to inspect the property and give you a written rental appraisal and keep that in your file. So if anybody does come through, if you come through, Emma, wanting to buy it as an investment, then I could actually quote that rental, show you a copy, or provide you a copy of the appraisal, the rental appraisal, because then you've got an expert that's looked at it. They would have comparable rental properties in the area that they've researched.
Yeah, and I suppose the other side as well is, and the ACCC focused on this quite a few years ago, was price representations, and then the property sold for considerably more.
Absolutely.
They viewed that as false and misleading.
Particularly in regards to underquoting with auctions. We've all heard or seen media stories with agents supposedly quoting a price, and then it sells at auction for considerably more, hundreds of thousands of dollars more. Now, the ACCC has taken action against agents on this, and that's publicly known on the ACCC website. But look, it's quite simple. You don't advertise a property for anything under what the owner would accept. Because if the owner will not accept anything under 500, why would you advertise it for under 500? That is simply misrepresentation.